blasting, billowing, bursting forth with the power of 10 billion butterfly sneezes.
This is Wine, Money, and Song. And if you want an insider's view of the wine industry, and if you're interested in learning about wines in different wine areas, please subscribe.
Last week's episode was about 2023 Bordeaux futures of the first growths. Are they worth buying? Are they of interest to wine collectors? And I set out the prices, showed the prices, and I showed the big price decreases in 2023. One of the missing prices was Château Margaux, and I just got the price yesterday. I thought it was going to be about $450. It's around $480. So they came in about 5% higher than I thought they would. So you can calibrate that in with the rest of the first growths. Those are decisions that you make, and as I said last episode, it's a question on how many first growths you own already. And if you're new to Bordeaux wine collecting, and if you have the discretionary income to spend about $500 a bottle, then 2023 is a good place to get started because of the decreases. Understand something about the 2023s. The Bordelais are not being charitable in reducing the prices like they have. The reason why they're reducing the prices are a number of reasons. One of them is they messed up in 2022 by raising the prices 35%, and basically they didn't sell. And there's a large supply of back vintages of Bordeaux going back, and that's why they repriced the 2023s much lower, because they got to get movement on these goods, and they got to get cash flowing, and they got to get some of these warehouses that are filled with Bordeaux moving. So we're going to be seeing, and this episode now is I'm going to show you listings of wines that are out. Most of the wine prices are out, but there are a few I still don't have. I don't have Figeac. I don't have Montrose, so those are of interest, but those will be coming out in the next week or so. So what I'll do is today I will give you the prices of the other wines, the second growths all the way down to the fifth growths, and just compare the prices. I won't recommend any of them right now. I'll just show you the prices, and in a future episode, when I wrap it up, I'll come out with my recommendations of which one you should really be serious with. But understand something, the 2023s, it was a very variable vintage. They had a huge flower set, and there were a lot of grapes on the vines. Some of the bunches had 250, 300 grapes on the bunches, and it was going to be a huge harvest. But in July, they didn't get a lot of sun, and they were really worried. So what they did is they did some green harvesting, cutting back some of the production to concentrate the flavors. But they were really worried. But at the end of August and the beginning of September, they were able to get sun and get the harvest. But there were a lot of problems with mildew. There were a lot of problems, and you're going to see the wines that really succeed in 2023 are the Cabernet-based wines. And the people who struggled, it was with their Merlot. And you'll see, especially in Saint-Emilion, there was a lot of problems. And I think Grape also had a lot of problems with the mildew in the beginning. And how each chateau faced that mildew problem is going to show the result in wine, whether the wine is really good or if it suffered. And we're only going to know that after the wines are bottled. But we're going to go through this, And the one thing I could tell you, that these price reductions they took, they're going to make the 2021s, it's not going to be on the minds of wine buyers. It's going to be out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. And I don't know what they're going to do with the 2021s, because 2022s, it was about the vintage. How this miracle vintage in 2022, the heat and everything, but they managed to make spectacular wines, supposedly. We'll see after the wines are bottled. But it was a very hot vintage, but most of the great vintages in Bordeaux are very hot vintages. So we're going to find out in the next year or two the resultant. But the 2023s were much more varied. So you really got to go chateau by chateau in 2023. And I want you to keep in mind, besides the prices of the 22 compared with the 23s, the 2020s and the 2019s, some of those prices are very close to the 2023s. And I think the 2020s and the 19s, I think right now, I would consider them to be better vintages in my mind right now, but time will tell. But also remember what I said last week. If you're buying 2023 futures, you're going to get the wine in 2 years, and interest rates are around 5.5% or so. So that's going to add another 10% onto these prices in the long run before you get the wine. So put that in your head. We're going to go over now the other wines and the prices. I want to go over the yields of the 2023s and the differences between the yields of the 2023 Bordeaux and the 2022. And part of the rationalization of the Bordelais pricing the 2022 so high is that it was a smaller harvest. And usually that puts prices higher. And the 2023s was a more plentiful harvest. So here are the numbers. So in Saint-Estèphe, and Saint-Estèphe is the most northern of the Médoc wines, the yields were 63% higher than 2022. That's huge difference. In Pauillac, which is south of Saint-Estèphe, it's 36% higher than 2022. And right below Pauillac, Saint-Julien is 45% higher. So you see the northern Médoc was much, much higher in yields, and there's going to be more of the 2023s than the 2022s by a lot. The Margaux area, which is south of Saint-Julien, is 20% higher than 2022. Now we go to the Grape area, which is the most southern on the Médoc region, and it was only 5% higher than 2022. And the reason for that is they had a lot of mildew problems. And as I said, Merlot was heavily affected by the mildew, and they grow more Merlot in Grave than they do in the northern Médoc. And also the soils of the northern Médoc, heavier soils did better, and the clay soil did better as far as the mildew and fighting off the mildew. So that's why Grave is going to be very, very variable in quality because of the mildew. And then we go to the right bank wines. Saint-Julien was down 10% in over 2022. So 2022s were a small harvest. In Saint-Emilion, it was even smaller in 2023, and that's because they grow Merlot. And so it's a relatively small harvest. Now, Pomerol, which is much smaller than Saint-Emilion. Why were they up 39% and Saint-Emilion was down 10 in yield? That's because the soils are heavier in Pomerol, and they were able to handle the mildew better. And a lot of the estates are much smaller in Pomerol, and fighting the mildew was easier for the smaller estates, obviously. So that's the picture of the yields. And yields have a lot to do with the price of the wines, obviously, because of the supply. So I'm going to start showing you the wines from each area, showing you the price differences. Now, I'm not going to recommend anything right now because I want all the wines to be out. And as I said, I still don't have some of the prices. I have most of them. But I'm going to show you the price differences between 2023 and 2022. So in Saint-Eustache, we have Cas Estenel, which is down 36% from 2022, which is sizable. Calon-Segur is only down 18%. And I put Château Margaux in there. It's down 22% from 2022. I'm not going to go through everything, but those are the major ones. Now, we're waiting on Château Montrose, okay? Now, I'm going to list a few others that I'm not going to go through in Saint-Eustache, but those are the highlights of the ones that I think of interest. Then we're going to go to Pauillac now. And Pauillac also has the heavier soil like Saint-Eustache does. So the Cabernet did very well. Pontet-Canet is down 27%. Lynch-Bages is down a whopping 35%. Pichon-Lalande is down 37%, which is sizable. Carroward de Lafite, which is the second wine of Lafite, is only down 13%, and I find that curious. Duhard-Mellon's only down 6%, which is negligible. Grand Puy-Lacoste, the favorite of mine, is down 26%. And Pichon Baron's down 28%. And we're going to go on to Saint-Julien now, which is still in the heavier soil, Cabernet-based. Léoville-Lascasse is down 46%. Now you're saying, why is it down so much? Oh my God, it's got to be cheap. No, they were one of the big offenders in 2022 and rifling their prices way up, and they didn't move. So the 46% looks inviting, but it's because they raised the prices so much in 2022. Ducru-Beaucaillou is down 34%. Léoville-Parferet is down 34%. Those are sizable numbers. Léoville-Barton is down 11%. Now, that might sound little, but they always price their wines very tight, and they had very good prices in 2022. And they're known, Léoville-Barton's known to be very, very tightly priced. Pichon Baron is down 24%. Talbot is down 28%. And Branair de Cru is down 20%. And Langot-Barton is down 16%. Gruau-Larose is down 15%, and Lagrange is down 20% in Saint-Julien. We're going to go to Margaux, which is getting now further south. And some of the Margaux use more Merlot like Parma does. Parma uses a lot more Merlot than most. Rosan-Segla is down 33%. Parma is down 24%. And they were one of the big offenders also in 2022 of being too high in price. So they're down 24%. G-Score 19%. Pavillon Rouge 21%. Alter Ego, the second wine of Palma, down 16%. Now, some of the other ones I haven't had prices on yet, but I will get them. Now we're going to go to the Grape, and I want to reiterate the point that the quality of Grape is going to be very varied, and this is a story that's going to be told over the bottling of the wine and everything, because they had a lot of mildew problems and they use more Merlot than the Northern Medoc does. The hot wine of the moment, Le Charme Aubryon, is 44% down from the price it's available now. So it's going to be hard to get that wine. It's more production. La Mission Aubryon is down 29%, which is sizable. Pop Clement down 5%. Domaine de Chevalier 21%. And in the Old Medoc, I'll just mention that Cannemerle, and Cannemerle's at $26. It's down 26%. How can you say no to that? And La Lagune, not one of my favorite chateaus, but at $38 is very, very good. And Saint-Emilion is going to be very variable too. So Chateau Canon is down 26%. Ozone is down 20%. Pavie is down 16%. And Pavie was one of those offenders being very high, and they only came down 16%. Lagafayère and Canon Lagafayère, very good wines and reasonably priced. Lagafayère is 21% down, and Canon Lagafayère is 21% also. And after that, you're going to have to be very careful with Saint-Emilions. And the last Pomerol, I don't have a lot of prices. L'Avangile is down 32%, and they were one of the offenders also of being way too high priced in 2022. Trotanois is down 33%. Osan is down 18%. Clean A is down 25%. And I throw in Chateau de Sales is down 16%. But at $32, they can make very good wine. Now, I'll be coming out in a couple of weeks with a definitive list of what I think are the best values. But I want to put this data out for you to look at it, and you start writing your list that, hey, that looks good, maybe I'll do that. But I'll have a comprehensive list in a couple of weeks on what I think are the best values.